Hey, so Blizzard deemed me worthy enough to get into the beta, so I'm here, playing on my Mage. I've played around with it a little bit, tried a couple of different Covenant abilities. I just wanted to make a quick video and go over some of the baseline changes for all three specs, give my opinions on them. I'm not going to go too in-depth, kind of try and keep it short. We'll see where we end up. But all three Mage specs get two new spells. That would, of course, be Alter Time returning. You pop it, it snapshots your health and mana and your location. You can pop it again to return back there. It doesn't snapshot dots. This is not the mop alter time, this is the wad alter time. In Mist of Pandaria, it would also snapshot your buffs, like your hot streaks or your ice lance procs. But in WAD, they made it just a defensive cooldown. And that's what it is. It's just, it snapshots your health and your location, and you return back to it. It's a nice thing. It's nice to have it back. But it's not the glory that it was in Mist of Pandaria. All three Mage specs also get Mirror Image as a baseline spell now. Summons three of your boys. They cast spells. 2-minute cooldown. Basically just pop it on cooldown. Been removed from the talent tree, replaced with this new talent, Focus Magic. We'll go over that later. And then as Fire, you get Arcane Explosion and Frostbolt. As Frost, you get Arcane Explosion and Fire Blast. And as Arcane, you get Fire Blast and Frostbolt. So Fire Blast, Arcane Explosion, and Frostbolt are now available to all three specs. As far as talent, as Fire Mage goes, baseline, they have given us Phoenix Flames. Baseline is no longer a talent. You can see there's a missing talent here. They'll have to put something in. It's the same as it was in Legion. Always crits, 3 charges, 30-second recharge, cleaves. But something it also does now, our Ignite doesn't spread automatically. And I don't know if these mobs are close enough to spread. But see, I got Ignite here. It's not spreading to that guy. If I do that, yeah, they're not close enough to spread. But Ignite doesn't spread by itself. You just stack it on one target. And then when you've got a big Ignite, you Phoenix Flames. And that spreads it around to the other targets. And that's all the baseline changes for Fire Mage, pretty much. Focus Magic, the talent, all three Mage specs get this in place of Mirror Image. You place it on a friendly target whenever they critically hit with spell. Let's see here. Increase the target's chance to critically hit with spells by 5% for 30 minutes. When the target critically hits, your chance to critically hit with spells is increased by 5% for 10 seconds. Cannot be cast on self-limit one target. So you just pick your favorite guy in the raid, your buddy. You put it on him, and you both crit more often. It's pretty lame. I hate it. People are going to be nagging me. If this is the go-to talent, which I doubt it's going to be better than Rune of Power, but if it is the go-to talent, everyone's going to be nagging, hey man, can I get Focus Magic? Hey man, can I get Focus Magic? But hopefully it's just dog shit. We never have to use it. And we can just keep using Rune of Power or Cancer's Flow. But as far as Fire Mage goes, it's actually good. Like, I don't like the Phoenix Flame spreading Ignite. I think it's dumb. I think Ignite should just spread by itself. I've got 10% Mastery. I know they made this change because in live, mages have like 150% Mastery. But I have 10%. It's not that big a deal if my Ignite spreads by itself. But they're going to go this way. I don't totally hate it, but I wish it wasn't this way. But it's fine. But bringing Phoenix Flames back actually lets our combust be a full combust. I made that video about what makes Fire Mage good, and it came down to the bracers and Memory of Lucid Dreams, because it actually lets you finish a combust out. And you can see in beta here, if I Rune of Power and I do my combustion, I didn't crit, but I can do all this stuff, and even when I'm out of Fire Blast, I can still keep playing because I have Phoenix Flames. And then we'll Fire Blast again. And then Phoenix Flames, and look at that. I went through my entire combust. I didn't have to cast Scorch. In live in BFA without Memory of Lucid Dreams and Bracers, you're casting like 4 to 5 Scorches to finish out a combust. I didn't have to cast a single Scorch there. So that's awesome. Combust is back to the way it was in Legion. You always want to dump your Phoenix Flames last in your combust, because that's going to spread your Ignite, your massive Ignite that you built during the combust to everything else. Which is basically what you did in Legion, so it's basically Legion Fire Mage, a little different here and there, but all in all, I like it. I think it's good changes. Will it be used at the start of BFA? Depends on tuning. Our crit is pretty low, so who knows? But I like it. It's baseline, it works. And now we can just add things on top of it like legendaries, covenant abilities, conduits, and it's going to be okay. We're not looking for 8 or 9.2 or 9.1 to add some band-aid fix to make the spec work. So, it's good. I like it. Pyroblast has a dot now as well. It's just a level up talent. It's like whatever. It does like no damage, so. That's it for Fire Mage. Let's take a look at Frost now. Okay, we got a Frost Mage here. Like I said, you have Mirror Images, you have Altered Time, you have Fire Blast, and you have Arcane Explosion. Arcane Explosion is actually pretty nice to have in your big AoEs when you throw out your Frozen Orb in your Blizzard and you dump your Ice Lances if you have Splitting Ice or whatever. But then when you run out of Ice Lances, or Frozen, what are they called? Fingers of Frost? When you run out of those, what are you doing with your AoE rotation? You're casting Frostbolt. So it's nice to be able to run in an Arcane Explosion and keep the AoE damage up. So that's actually really nice. It actually uses about 10% of your mana, so you can only use it like 10 or so times, but it's nice to have. Let's see. Let's start out with the regular Glacial Spike. Honestly, nothing has changed for Frost. You got the baseline spells. The only thing that has changed. Let me get Ebon Bolt. There we go. I'm just gonna put this guy on passive so I can. The only thing that has changed is the Flurry Brain Freeze proc. The Winter's whatever it's called. If you'll see here, I'll do my Shatter combo. Frostbolt, Flurry, Ice Lance. But you see, you had 2 charges of Winter's Chill. Now I can throw a second Ice Lance after each Flurry. So now, every time Flurry hits, it applies a Winter's Chill thing, and it applies 2 Winter's Chill things. So after each Shatter combo, you're gonna cast 2 Ice Lances. That's really the only change that Frost has seen. So your Shatter combo, you can shatter your Frostbolt, throw the Flurry, that will shatter, and then reapply the 2-stack, and then boom, boom. So the only change really is at the end of every Shatter combo, you're going to throw 2 Ice Lances instead of 1. It's like the double Ice Lance from Legion, when we had like a 95% Thermal Void uptime, and you were throwing a bunch of Ice Lances after flurries to make them crit and whatever. They just kind of made that baseline. It works. There were some troubles with Flurry and Winter's Chill, and there still is, but it's better. It's whatever. And then, like, the talents are the same. We got Focus Magic because we got that Mirror Image baseline, but the talents are the same. Everything's cool. Frost is just Frost, and I think that's okay. I mean, Frost, there was no problem with Frost in BFA, honestly. It's probably the best all-around, well-designed mage spec. It's a bit RNG, but, you know, it's what it is. Glacial Spike is still good. I've had lots of suggestions. The one thing about Frost is it's got so much more build variety than Arcane or Fire. It's like insane. Like, I've played with Glacial Spike, I've played with Ray of Frost, I've played with Thermal Void, I've played with Comet Storm, I've played with Splitting Ice, I've played with Freezing Raid, I've played with Ebon Bolt, I've played with Chain Reaction, I've played with Frozen Touch, I've played with Bone Chilling, I've played with Lonely Winter, I've played with Ice Nova. Like, there's I mean, obviously the numbers are going to come down and tell us what's best, but there's so many build options. Like, you got your big Glacial Spike spec that could be really good for Cleave, or you can go like a Thermal Void, Frozen Touch, or Chain Reaction spec with Lonely Winter. Or maybe like, maybe you go Ray of Frost because it gives you more Fingers of Frost art. Like, there's a lot of possibilities here. You can go Mass AoE with like Freezing Rain or Comet Storm, and then like Ice Nova. You know, lots of good stuff, but it's BFA Frost, basically. The Winter's Chill thing is the only thing they've changed. It's cool, I guess. It takes a little bit of getting used to throw 2 Ice Lances after a Flurry. But Frost is Frost. If you like Frost, you're going to like Frost. There's nothing really changed here. You got some cool abilities like Fire Blast and Arcane Explosion, Mirror Image, and Altered Time. It's good. It's good spec. I like it. No complaints, really. Okay, so of all the 3 specs, Arcane has probably seen the most changes. But it's still not really that much. So, of course, we have Mirror Image and Altered Time. Like the other ones, we have Frostbolt and Fire Blast. Just cool baseline things. Also things we have baseline. We now have Touch of the Magi baseline. It's no longer a talent. It is now an active ability, 1.4 second cast, 45 second cooldown. I guess 1.5 second cast based on my haste, but it's just like the talent, except you have to cast it and it's on a cooldown. You put it on the target, it's debuffed. And then all the damage you deal to it will explode at the end of the duration. Or a percentage of the damage you deal to it will explode at the end of the duration around it. It's the same as the talent, but it's an on-use ability. It gives it a little bit more depth to gameplay. It's on a 45-second cooldown, so it can be used with a Rune of Power and charged up in between arcane powers and whatnot, so it's good stuff. Also, this is the most massive change there was. Arcane Power is now a 3-minute cooldown instead of a 1.5-minute cooldown. I don't know why they did this. I guess they just thought the burst damage from Arcane Power every minute and a half was just too much or something. I don't get it. Maybe they're trying to make the conserve phase a bit more interactive, because instead of like a minute of conserve phase, now you're gonna have like 2.5 minutes of conserve phase or something. I don't know, but with that being on a 3-minute cooldown, that gives you a lot more time in between your arcane powers to mess with things like Rune of Power, your charged ups, your Touch of the Magi, and Presence of Mind still on a 1-minute cooldown. It now gives you 3 instant casts instead of 2. So there's a lot more to play with in the conserve phase. I honestly, when I first read this without playing it, I thought it was dog shit. I thought, what did Blizzard doing there, idiots? But I actually kind of like it a lot. They've also buffed how long Arcane Power lasts. It's for 15 seconds now instead of 10. So it's a bit longer in your burn. When I read these changes, I thought Blizzard's idiots. But actually, after playing with it, it really adds something to the conserve phase. It makes it less of just waiting for my Arcane Power. Okay, Arcane Power, Arcane Blast, Arcane Blast, Arcane Blast, Arcane Blast until I'm and then we're waiting for Arcane Power again. Now it gives you some moments in your conserve phase where you're like, oh, I have a Rune available, plus a Presence of Mind, plus a Touch of the Magi and a charged up. I can go for a mini burn here and still have them up, and still they'll be up in time for my Arcane Power. So that's cool stuff. Talent changes. Nothing really has changed. Of course, Focus Magic. In replace of Touch of the Magi, since it's now a baseline, they've added Enlightened. This is basically the Equipoise trait from BFA, the Azurite trait. While above 70% mana, you do more damage. While below it, you restore more mana. I don't really like talents like this. I mean, I'm gonna guess that it's gonna be the best one, which is a bit upsetting because I don't like talents that are like, oh, at this certain threshold, now you're doing less damage. Like, I want to be able to burn my mana when I need to burn my mana. I don't want to be like, oh, I can't burn because I'm at 70%, so I got to conserve now. If I want to burn to 50 and sit right there until Arcane Power, I should be able to do that. But Blizzard seems to like it. It's probably going to be the best one, so get used to hovering around 70% mana. But that's it. Arcane does pump still, but of course, I'm sure you've heard about this. The absolutely insanity of the Arcane setup is insane. So we're going to do a fake pull timer here. Let's see here. DBM pull 5. Oh. Can I just do pull 5? I don't have DBM. No. Well, whatever. So, precast an Arcane Blast. Then we'll charged up. Drop our mirror images. Apply our Radiant Spark. Rune of Power. Touch of the Magi. Arcane Power. Presence of Mind. And we're blasting. And we are blasting. This is without heroism. And you see, I still have Arcane Power after the Rune runs out because it lasts so long. I'm unsure if you'll cast Rune again during Arcane Power. I don't know. The math guys will have to figure that out. But Arcane still does blast during its Arcane window. And Arcane Powers, like cooldown was doubled. Evocations wasn't. So I'm going to burn off here. And then we'll evocate back up. And then we'll be able to have another evocate before we Arcane Power again. Please ignore all my weak ores, by the way. They're super scuffed, but... And see? Arcane Power's not up for 30 minutes, so we'll do a little mini burn here, because we've got charged up Rune of Power and a Touch of the Magi. Just do a bit of a mini burn. That drops us below 70. Finishing off with an Arcane Barrage. And we're back to conserving. Also, something I forgot to mention, Arcane Barrage gives you 2% of your mana whenever you fire it back. So, That makes the conserve phase a bit less punishing. You can get mana back a little bit easier. It makes the AoE rotation a bit more mana neutral. It's still not mana neutral, and it's still boring as shit. This is the Arcane AoE rotation. Arcane Explosion, Arcane Explosion, Arcane Explosion, Barrage. That'll give you a little bit of mana back, and you'll Explosion, 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 Barrage. So now that Barrage gives you mana back, you can do it a little bit longer, but it's still not mana neutral. You'll still run eventually. So that's my main criticism, is that the AoE rotation is boring as shit. But I really hated these changes when I read them, when Blizzard announced them, about the arcane power doubling and the touch of the Magi baseline and stuff. But after playing with it, I really like it. Something else I forgot to mention. There's more changes than I thought. You have mana gems now. You can make a mana gem before combat, and then in combat, when you're low on mana, if you mess up your burn, or your conserve phase a little bit and you need mana, or you just need to burn in a little bit of extra mana to kill an ad or something, pop a mana gem. 2-minute cooldown, 10% mana. It's pretty cool. So that's the whole thing. Fire, I think it's closer to Legion, which is awesome. I wish Ignite would spread by itself still. I don't think it's that big of a deal if it does, but it doesn't. And I don't mind the Phoenix Flame charges spreading it. It's here or there. I could take it or leave it. But I do like having Phoenix Flames back baseline. I like that the combust window is actually complete now again, and we don't have to wait for something like memory or bracers to fix it. That's awesome. Frost is Frost. Frost is still awesome. The double Ice Lance on Flurry. It seems like they were just trying to fix the degenerate playstyle that could happen when you're getting a lot of haste and you were double Ice Lancing, and they were just going to make that baseline. I don't know. Flurry's still a bit wacky, but Frost is Frost. It works. I don't mind it. And Arcane was the one I was least happy about when I read the changes, but after playing with it, I don't mind it. I think it's better. It's still Arcane. It's still fucking the one button spec. You just fucking blast, 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 blast. It's still that, but it's got other things to it now, and I like it. I think they've done pretty good changes. So I was kind of really down on the Mage before I got to play it, but now that I've played it a little bit, I'm enjoying it. I think these are fairly good changes. Some final notes to Blizzard. Clear casting stacks to 2 now. So if we could get the graphic from WoD back, where they had like the extra... Let's see if I can get an Arcane Missiles proc here. Yeah, here's clear casting. This is the proc, but it stacks to 2 now. I can fire 2. If we could get the graphic back that had like the little circles to help indicate how many charges we had, that would be great. Something needs to be done with the Arcane Mage rotation. It's really boring and really dumb that I have to run into melee to do it. So maybe take a look at that. For fire, I just make Ignite spread by itself. I think it's fine as long as you don't give us 1000% haste or 1000% mastery. I really don't think it's going to be a problem. And the talent that needs to go in place of Phoenix Flames needs to be competitive with Flame On. Alexstrasza's Fury got a bit of a buff, but I still don't think it's going to be competitive with Flame On. Like, Flame On is so good. It's so good to the point where it might just need to be baseline. And then we make 2 more talents here. Alexstrasza's Fury, when you use it in critical strikes, contributes to Hot Streak. Damage done by your next Pyroblast or Flame Strike is increased by 35%. That's really big. You could maybe go in with like a Pyroclasm build, but that seems pretty gimmicky, I'm not going to lie. I think we should just bake in, take out this 35% damage thing to the next Pyroblast or Flame Strike, and just bake in the Helm from Legion. I don't see what the big deal is to make Alexstrasza's Fury this mass AoE thing. But, whatever. Flame On. This talent row still needs work, Blizz. That's the main thing. Also, Focus Magic. Just, if you're going to keep... I think we should look for some other option for this talent row. But if you're going to keep it, just make it dog shit so I don't have to use it. I don't want to use it, Blizzard. Rune of Power and Cantor Slow are fine. And then for Frost, Frost is Frost. Frost is good. I like Frost. There's nothing wrong with it. It's definitely got the most build variety I've found with all the specs, so I think it's good. So that's just a quick video to update you on all that stuff. I may make a video going into the Covenant abilities for the different Covenants and whatnot, but so that's it, and we'll see you next time.